Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. This is designed to be an interactive workshop. So if you are not nude, please turn on your camera. And if you are, it will be so much more exciting for all of us. Let's start off the new year with a bang, so to
Röstet
speak.
schmecken beide Sorten sehr lecker auf den Weihnachtsmärkten.
So what I might do is if I hear any background
Außer
noise
das
at your
Weiche
place, I will
Wort.
turn off
Okay.
your microphone,
Also
but
ich höre ein Webinar gerade auch noch. Was bitte?
that is not that doesn't mean I necessarily want you to be quiet, because this is one of those workshops where we want to have lots of participation. Please stop me at any time and ask questions. This is the 10th year I've been running workshops like this. So I make websites for a living, and I'm in the Business Solutions program. I help people with their websites and Google Ads and getting things sorted on social media. And I absolutely love technology. So if there's any trends that you're here specifically to find out more about, please unmute yourself now and give me a bit of a yell and tell me, what are you here for today? Michelle, I'm going to pick on you first because your microphone is already off and I can see you.
Hi, Nicky and everyone else. I'm not really sure. I'm just happy to listen and find out what's happening out there in the world. I kind of feel a bit isolated at times. So, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right, so the premise of today is about online trends, but we're all business owners here, and I'm not here to tell you about flying self-driving cars or pie in the sky things like that we're looking forward to in 10 years. What today's workshop is focused on are things that have been changing in the business world over the past couple of years and are at the stage where they're at a practical implementation stage. They're things that we should look at implementing right now. They're things that our customers are asking about or sometimes demanding of us. And I want to talk through the best case for those. And I also have a couple of tricky things that have recently come to light that I think are worth talking about. As I just mentioned, at any time, please jump in and ask questions. We have an hour together. I can see, Taylor, you're just messaging in the chat that you're having sound issues. If I think everyone can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up or if you can hear me okay. So it might be on your end, Taylor, I think. Try reconnecting and see how that helps you. All right, on we go. The first thing I want to introduce you to is the world of online shopping has kind of evolved in the last couple of years. People have become a lot more comfortable with online shopping. The whole lockdown period has really helped that space out. And also for the first time, we are seeing big companies actually doing online shopping well, whereas up until now, big companies haven't really done it well at all. It's been dominated by small players who have provided really good customer service. But in a sense, things are shifting so that the offline retail environment, certainly we're seeing it in the US and a little bit here, has shifted into a showroom kind of a space. So shops are holding less and less stock in their bricks and mortar space and encouraging you to jump online and purchase. And particularly in the big kind of department-ish stores, they have accurate stock levels of what's available in store and what's available for delivery. And so I think that's a really interesting shift, certainly from a customer perspective, to know if I can go pick this up today. You might have heard of the whole click and collect kind of schmozzle, where somebody goes and does the shopping for you. You just drive over there and pick it up. So that's particularly big in the world of groceries, but also we're seeing shops like BCF and Anaconda and Pillow Talk. Those big departmenty Australia-wide stores are taking that click and collect quite seriously. Most of them will do the shopping for you in 2 hours, so you can just sit on the couch and jump in there and buy what you need and then go pick it up. So that's certainly the big change that we've seen. But from a small business perspective, I think the most interesting thing we're seeing is video shopping. And so for any of you who already sell things, I want to show you a little demonstration video of a backpack that I saw that I think has one of the best demo videos ever. It's an Australian company, so I'm just going to share my screen. Hold on just a second. So, can you see my screen on your end? You should be able to see Google. Is that right? Give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Oh, yep, awesome. Very good. All right, so this company is called Bellroy. They sell bags and backpacks and things like that. Something about this website that I love is that their products are extremely well photographed. They don't really appear in shops, so it's not something you can go have a look at. So they've done a very good job of photographing their products. And as you change color, they've photographed every different color as well. What the backpack fits in it, what it looks like size-wise on a girl and a guy. So quite clever, really, how they've done that. But the video is what we're here for. So I'm just going to jump to the beginning of this video. So you can see it's a very plain kind of a video. It's annotated. So it has little snippets there to tell you what's going on as it goes along. And in terms of being able to get a good 360 feel for what this product is and whether or not I would like it, it's sensational for that. It's not a cheap backpack, $230, but I have to say I showed my partner this video and he's a bit miserable with money, to be honest, and he bought this. So for a 1 minute investment of his time, he certainly parted with his $250, and now we possess one of these backpacks. So video shopping is the first of my online trends. And now that I've shown it to you, you will probably start to notice it a lot more. But if you take online shopping seriously in your business, then having a few videos is really, really useful for customers. Well, number one, having a good understanding of what they're getting and minimizing chargebacks and minimizing returns. Where people can't touch and feel and get a bit of an emotional connection, then it certainly helps. Where I've seen this work really well is in the world of art. So Michelle, I'm actually looking at you for a second. I'm not sure what you sell in terms of Australian nature photography, but I'm going to guess something really pretty to put on my wall. I have
correct, Nicky. Yeah.
I have a client up here in Cairns who is also a nature photographer, and he videos the work on his wall. And he also provides to his clients, he says, send me a photo of what your wall looks like, and I'll put that photo in different sizes on your wall accurately, so you've got a feel on how it's going to look.
Yeah, nice.
I think both of those things are really clever for
one thing I've done on my website is, even I as a photographer don't know what my photo is going to look like when it's in frame. So when you go on mine, you can custom build the frame. So you choose your coloured mat, choose your photo, choose your coloured mat, and then choose, a black frame, timber frame, and it builds it all there, and you can actually see it with the photo in there. And I think that's a big winner.
That's pretty tricky, Michelle. How did you do that? What platform are you using for your website?
Using WordPress, but we wouldn't have used WordPress had we decided to build this whole thing about custom building. So we've stuck with WordPress and got some developers in there that know what they're doing.
Yeah, awesome. That's a really interesting kind of a process. If you're comfy, why don't you pop your website in the chat below so other people can go and have a look at that? Because that leads me... Sorry, unfortunately, it's still under development.
It's under construction at the moment because we're adding some new fun features. So I'm actually going to have digital jigsaw puzzles where people can come and play online any of my photos, and there'll be a block on there, and then at the end there'll be a little pop-up if people want to buy it. So it's not so much about pushing the sales, it's about driving people onto the site as well. So
excellent.
Thinking of
it sounds like you're really switched on. And in fact, what you've just said there about that whole customize and framing process leads me to my second point really well. And that is that customers, my point is that you need to meet customers where they are. And that really envelops a whole lot of different spaces, and I'll try to explain some of them. But that process of being able to see and feel and customize a product, that definitely is meeting customers where they are. But it's specifically about not putting any roadblocks in place of how they might want to engage with you and do business with you. And this means as business owners a lot of work, but I'll walk through it. As a really good example, anybody who has a Facebook page will know you get messages at all times of day and all times of night from customers who's interested in your product, and they want to know stuff, and they want to know stuff instantaneously. And so messaging systems, so some of those customers come on Facebook, some come on Instagram, some come on TikTok, and other platforms if you happen to be on those as well. Your Google profile has a messaging system, and all of these customers demand pretty close to instantaneous replies. If you happen to publish your mobile number, you probably also get text messages, and same, they really have this instantaneous feeling about them. And customers honestly get really grumpy if they have to wait for responses, even if it's midnight on Christmas Eve, as I read about a company had that kind of an interaction with their customers. So that's one way. Customers want instant information in the way that they're used to conversing. So if they like to call, they want to be able to call you. If they're an emailer, they want to be able to get responses within 24 hours. If they use any of these messaging platforms, they want it straight away. But also, you've probably noticed that there are now a lot of different ways in which you might pay for something. And everyone has a bit of an attachment to their way. And so some of them, not many, will like to do bank transfer. Most will want to pay by credit card. And of course, if they have an Amex, they want you to take Amex. And some like to pay things off. So Afterpay or Zip Pay. And some people like to use their phone for payment. So they might be using Apple Pay or Google Pay. And in an ideal world, you will take all of these payment options and PayPal as well, because some people get attached to that. And so you will start to see an awareness for websites that just have this myriad of payment options, so many, and everybody likes a different one. These will continue to pop up, particularly the payoff kinds of systems that we've seen with Afterpay and Zip Pay. And customers will ask for them, hey, do you accept Apple Pay, or can I pay this off with Afterpay, or things like that? So meeting customers where they are means developing and integrating with systems that they are used to using. So that's my number 2 online trend. A couple of interesting things we haven't seen too much of yet, which are on the horizon. One is over COVID time in particular, QR codes became popular again. You probably saw them everywhere. You had to check in at places, and people became quite comfortable with the concept of QR codes and scanning them. What they are great at from a business perspective is taking people from the offline world onto the online world. And so a couple of things if you're using QR codes is make sure whatever you're sending people to is mobile friendly, because they're going to be using their mobile. So they need to be able to read stuff, fill out forms, things like that. So the QR code is about scanning people onto the mobile. Amazing at events. So we are now seeing them for signing up to newsletters. People at markets are using them to enter competitions. So anywhere in the face-to-face world where you want to bring people into your online space, a QR code is the way to do it. But the emerging trend in this space is using QR codes for payments. So being able to scan a QR code and it connects straight away to your payment system. Particularly in China, we've seen them using this for years, but we're starting to see some other emerging spaces, and I think we will start to see it at a restaurant. So you have a QR code at the bottom of your bill, you scan it and you pay straight away. So there's no queuing, no bottlenecks. It'll become a space for convenience. So how you might be able to use them is if you are running events, if you're advertising at markets, if you do any kind of face-to-face space, think about how you might be able to grab that person and bring them into your funnel to be able to integrate them with them at a later time. And watch out for the emergence of QR code payments. Another trend is you have probably heard about podcasting, but the podcast market is really maturing. Up until now, just about anybody would have been able to create their own, almost like a radio show. And there are certainly hundreds of thousands of podcasts, and some people have become sort of international superstars off the back of podcasts. But we are now starting to see businesses use podcasts as a way of interacting with their customers and specifically talking about their products and services. So as an example, someone who registered for this workshop today is a nursery in Perth, and they've got lots of different plants that are available for sale on their website with pretty good descriptions of each of those. Every one of those plants could make a podcast that is not only of interest to their customers in Perth, but globally, certainly Australia-wide, and they sell Australia-wide, so it opens you up to a much broader audience. So have a think about that. Could you create a podcast for your business? You will start to see more and more businesses now talking about their own podcasts. We have a national network of radio stations in Australia through, I think it's called Southern Cross Stereo, and they are putting podcast rooms in every one of their stations around the country so that you can walk on in and create a podcast. It's sort of a done for you podcasting service. So it's certainly becoming a lot more approachable. But hey, all you really need to start a podcast is a mobile phone, record your voice for somewhere between 5 minutes to an hour, and you've got a podcast. It's not too tricky to create one. So could you share audio content with other people would be the question. Could you talk about your business or something that you do for a couple of minutes on a fairly regular kind of a way? So I just want to check in with the other people we've got connected here. We've got about 12 people connected. Can you pop in the chat below what your business is? Because in a second, I want to pick on somebody, and I want to demonstrate one of the cool new tech items that I want to interact with somebody who's actually on the call today. So please pop down in the chat below what your business is, what do you do? So awesome. We've got an outdoor digital media advertising. Cool. That's pretty cool. Are they the really, really bright screens, Alice? Is that what outdoor digital media advertising is? Yep. Okay, cool. Excellent. They're especially bright at nighttime. We've got Austan's peak body for the Australian dance sector in Queensland. E-commerce store for cat lovers. Oh, Tracy, that's awesome. I hope we get to see some videos on your website. I've discovered on TikTok, cats are called floof. Have you heard this? It's new for me. And we've got a virtual assistant. Excellent. Quite a few people. Thank you very much. Next online trend, something less so practical for you, but more of awareness, is security-related crime is on the massive rise. We've heard about big hacks this year from Optus. If you're a Vinomofo member, they got hacked, and Medibank, they got hacked, and we will hear more and more of these stories as time goes on. We now have some required reporting for hacks in Australia, so that's why they're about to be a bit more on our radar than before, where they could kind of be covered up. They can't really be now. And so you should have a little look at your business and go, well, where's my risk? What kind of stuff am I holding about my customers that would be super embarrassing if it got hacked? And what you should be looking out for are things like personal details. So as an example with Vinomofo, the hack that they experienced, they were keeping dates of birth because, of course, they sell wine. And so they need to make sure that somebody is over 18. And in association with their hack, people stole names, date of births, addresses. And these are personal information items that are of value to hackers. And the reason why is because those items are used in identity fraud. So same with Optus and the license numbers, and again, a key piece of information that people can use against you in identity fraud cases. So have a think about, what do you hold about your customers? Do you need to hold everything that you've got? Like in the case of a hotel, for example, many hotels ask for your license number or ask to see your license. Some of these hotels are recording those details and some of them are just citing them. So have a think particularly about identifiable stuff like that. Do you need to hold on to it legally? And if you don't, just cite it and record that it was okay, rather than holding on to it ongoing. Your biggest risk in the world of security is the weakness of your passwords. And usually when I tell people this, they shift uncomfortably a little bit in their chair, because everybody, absolutely everybody, is reusing passwords. There's very few exceptions to this rule, and the people who are not reusing their passwords are using a password manager like LastPass or 1Password or Apple Keychain or Google Passwords or any of those systems. We do know, though, these are not impenetrable. LastPass have been hit twice this year with some major leaks. Nothing is unhackable, as I like to say. So everything carries with it some risk. But the best thing you can do to protect yourself on a practical level against security-related cybercrime is having long, difficult passwords that are not ever reused. So all unique passwords. Does anyone have any questions about that one in particular? It's an important one. Nope, very good. If anyone has any questions at any time, please unmute themselves or jump it in the chat below, and I'll stop and cover your question in more detail. So security crime, I just want to tell you a little story about an organization that I know of up here. They are a member-based organization, and where their weak password caused them to have an embarrassing mistake, let's say it from that perspective, is one of their employees got access to their email newsletter software. Legitimately, they're a new employee and one of their jobs is communications, and so they have to send out that email newsletter once a month. And so how best practice works with relation to access is you add a new person onto that service rather than sharing passwords. So this person was added onto the email service, which is best practice, and they set their own password in that process. That employee just reused a password that they've used 100 other times on the internet. And so a hacker was able to walk into their account. What I mean by walk in is that it's pretty easy for hackers to grab lists of usernames and passwords. And if they're used over here, they'll test them on a different website. I'm going to demonstrate this for you so you can have a look. Some of you might have seen this website before. It's called Have I Been Owned? With a P. So I'm going to just share my screen for a second. So I've just searched for Have I Been Owned, but with a P. This is made by an Australian security professional. And then what we're going to do is type in somebody's email address and see where their details have been exposed. So I'm going to offer my own email address today. And so this will tell me the websites where my username is this email address and where they have been hacked. So Adobe back in 2013. Oh, I've got a really big list. Look, Dropbox, Gravatar, LinkedIn, quite a few. And if I use my personal email address, which I've had for a really, really long time, maybe 20 years, the list is even longer. So these are all of the places that have been hacked. So Canva in May 2019, what was compromised was my email address, my geographic location, my name, my password, and my username. And so where the risk is here is if I am reusing my Canva username and password, a hacker can just try it somewhere else, like in Facebook or Bitly or somewhere else, or in an email newsletter software. And in the case of the member organization, what happened is the hacker sent out an invoice to everybody saying your membership's due, pay here. Please note our bank details have changed. And so that's a pretty embarrassing hack to experience, is all of your members, all 2,000 of them in this case, got an invoice with new bank details telling them, hey, this looks like every other email you receive from this organization. It looks like our normal email. So it was quite convincing. And so thinking through those risk points, where do you interact with your customers is one of those places to think of. Does anyone have any questions or comments about this? Nope. Good. On we go. The next big online trend is the growth of subscriptions. You might have noticed that just about everything now has a free version and a paid version, or just a paid version, and they're mostly monthly small ongoing chunks. It's usually at this time of year where I have a little look over everything that I'm paying for the year and just evaluate it. Do I still want this thing? Because they will just automatically tick over every year, and we will see this more and more going forward. Any of you who have Shopify websites, this is their whole business model, is the ongoing increasing monthly subscriptions with all the little features that you want to add to your website. WordPress, not so much, Michelle, you're a little bit safer in that space, a little bit shielded from those. There's a lot of free plugins in that space, but in Shopify, everything has a paid component to it. So this growth is going to be astronomical over the next 5 years, and you'll probably lament each one, oh golly, I'll have to pay another monthly fee. So my practical thing to you is right now is a good time to check what's going to renew this year and maybe cancel stuff that you might have forgot about that you signed up to. I often find on my phone I've signed up for a free trial of something and it just starts a week from now and I forgot to cancel the free trial that I didn't like. So that's the tip for this one, the growth of subscriptions. Something that's been trending for a little while, but business owners don't take good advantage of it, is how our devices are now very, very good at recognizing our voice. Those of you who are on iPhones are probably familiar with Siri, and those of you on the Android system, you'd be saying, "Hey Google," and telling your phone to do stuff. How I got started in this space is I used to tell Siri to do really simple things for me. So it would be like, "Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. And that's because I was about to put something in the oven and it was going to finish in 10 minutes time. And she just set a timer for 10 minutes for me. Thanks, Siri. But what people don't usually use it much for is things like dictating messages, emails, or writing notes for themselves. And where this is super impressive as a time-saving tool is if you have to write some text about anything to do with your business. So if you're going to write a blog post or you're going to reply to an email or anything like that, the voice recognition on these items is insanely good. How I do it is if I'm going to write an email, I don't usually reply to the email with my voice. I write my email in a note and then I copy and paste it in. And so how I do that from a vocal perspective is, "Hey Siri, note this." And that triggers her to create a brand new note in the note system. And then I just talk and dictate what that note's going to contain. And if I can do one, I'll show you live how it works. So I'm going to turn on Siri with my microphone here and say, "Okay, Siri, I'm going to dictate a note to you and I want you to write as we go. Full stop, new paragraph. This is an awesome note to use in an email at a later stage. Full stop." So you can see I'm being a little bit persnickety with her, telling her punctuation, comma, and also full stops, full stop, new paragraph. And so it means I have a bit less work to do later down the track. And so that's a pretty good note that she's dictated. She's not perfect, but gee, it's way faster than me sitting down and typing all of that with a blank screen and wondering what to say. I do find we are very good when we're on the phone telling our customers things about our product. And so that's how you should think of it. You're talking to somebody on the phone and Siri's just writing down the contents. If you are a blogger, this is totally life-changing. It will take you far less time to talk than it will to write. 500 words, it comes out pretty quickly, whereas it takes me about an hour to write a blog post for 500 words. Does anybody use Siri for anything else in their business, or their Hey Google Assistant for anything else in their business that they can put in the chat below that we can learn from? I reckon the audio note-taking is a total game changer. It's like an old school 90s, 50s kind of secretary that you dictate to across the room and she types things for you in lovely format, ready for you to copy and paste. The big thing of the last year, the biggest trend, is that AI has finally reached a point where it's super usable, it's approachable, and it's easy. And right now, there are tons of free tools and a few paid ones as well of how you can use AI in your business. I'm going to demonstrate one. It's called ChatGPT. And how this works, currently it's a free system. It took only 2 days for it to reach 1 million users. So when it released to the public, 2 days later, it had 1 million people using its service. It is a free service for now, and it's designed to be an interactive chat engine. And so this is the one that I wanted to pick on somebody's business so that we can write some text for them. Tracy, do you mind if I pick on you? Are you still with us? You are. Okay, great. So I'm going to go to your website. We've got thekittycat.com. Excellent. So I'm going to share my screen and walk through my process. So hold on just a second. So this is Tracy's website. quite cute. Making the world a better place through cats. Sorry to all of you dog lovers. We're going to focus on cats for now. So we've got a little bit of text here about all things feline. And let's jump on into an individual product. Now we know one of the things that sells products are the photos, the videos, and the descriptions. And so here we've got a fairly good description. It looks like Tracy goes all out actually to write these. That's very, very detailed. But let's say she hadn't written this yet. In fact, let's start with a homepage. Let's write some extra text for a homepage. This is ChatGPT. We've got a little box down here and we have to give it a prompt. And so first of all, I want to give Chat a little bit of background on the business. So the business name is, how do I spell it exactly? The kitty cat. And Tracy, do you sell all around Australia, or do you have a fixed geographic location that that you sell from? And I might pick on you a bit more. So if you've got a working microphone, that'd be really good if you could unmute yourself so I can ask lots of questions.
Sorry, Nicky. Yeah, all across Australia.
Yep, great. So the business is located in Australia. It is would you call yourself a cat marketplace or an online store focusing on cat products?
Yep.
Yep. Focusing on cat products. Your target market, do you have an ideal one?
It's usually female between 35 and 35 plus.
Cat lovers over 35. Cat loving females over 35. What would you say the key benefits of your business are?
I don't know, unique products all in one place, I suppose.
Unique products, specialist cat information. Do you provide any general information for cat lovers or tips or tricks?
I'm working on that at present.
Yep. Are you a cat lover as well?
Yes.
Yep. Excellent.
It's products for cats and also for cat lovers, so gifts for cat lovers as well.
Got you. So I'm cat. Okay, so we're going to say products for cats and gifts for cat lovers. Great. And so I'm going to get it to write some homepage text for you. So write the homepage content for our website about this business. Break it into sections. An overview. We'd like a list of key products. And benefits. Are you a friendly kind of a person, would you say, Tracy? Is your business decide to be upbeat and interactive and cozy, or is it more serious?
Oh, no, friendly.
Yep. Friendly, upbeat tone in Australian English. Now, it is just a computer, but let's have a look. Ooh, really? Let's try this again. I just lost all of those things that I copied that I had, so I'm just going to try one from another one I did recently. Hold on a sec. Sorry, Tracy. See if I've still got an error.
Will it be in a history list?
Oh, I might just try logging in again. Yeah, no, not likely. I think it's because I was already logged in before I got here. So let's try again. Hey, this AI thing, it's new as it turns out, and it's not all perfect. I'm going to try that again. Yep. Okay, so that's one that I created earlier for another business using much the same information. So this is for a pot plant selling store. And you can see my prompt above, which I've just copied and pasted, and it's right in front of us. So not too bad. The text is actually pretty good. It's certainly upbeat and personable. I'm going to try it again about you though, Tracy. So the business is the kitty, based in Australia. Thank you. One word?
Yep.
Yep, based in Australia. Sells online cat products and gifts for cat lovers. And I'm going to not put so many prompts. I'm just going to tell it to write the homepage based on that information and see what it says. Now, because we haven't given it as much information as I wrote before, it's going to make some stuff up. It's going to do its best anyway. So here it's made up that you sell toys and treats and clothing and accessories. So maybe you don't sell all of those things. You might not sell custom gift baskets either. And it's invented some things about your business history.
Okay.
So hopefully you've always been passionate about things that are cat.
Always have been, so that's okay. And the other things could be ideas for future.
Yeah, so certainly that's what this is really, really good for, is giving you a bit of stuff to start with. You mentioned you were going to do some kind of information for cat lovers going forward. So
Yeah.
Let's ask it for some of those things. Write a list of blog post topics for cat lovers to better look after their pets for an online cat product shop. And so we just want some ideas. How are they? Are they okay?
Yeah, they're good.
So you could steal some of those if you like.
Yeah.
And they'd make some good things. ChatGPT is designed to be conversational, so you can actually ask it questions and get facts about major things out there. So what are the primary concerns cat owners have for the health of their cat? And so this is a way that you might be able to generate future ideas by asking specific topics. And that's actually pretty good.
Mm.
You can see that it would save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
I will say that it is quite, structured. I find that the text that it brings out feels like a robot and not so much like a human. So giving it that prompt about writing in an upbeat kind of a way is the best way to use it, or to say to write something in the first person. One example I had recently is I am a podiatrist. Write the most common foot problems. I'm likely to see in patients right from the first person. And so that's a pretty clumsy kind of a prompt that I've written there. But certainly feels like it's written more like a person that way. So it's using first person language, I kind of a language, rather than arm's length or third person kind of language. And that would make a pretty good little overview on a homepage about what common foot problems I treat. If I was a podiatrist, that is. Does anybody have some ideas for something they need to write that I could throw into here and get an example for you? Michelle, have you got anything coming up on your new website? that you have to write or you have to provide to the web developers?
I need to write a new blog on forgotten.
The benefits of custom framing
That sounds good. Yep.
landscape photography. Does that sound like something you would write?
Yes.
All right, let's try it. 300 words is a lot.
Okay.
Oh, it's actually very good. I wouldn't have thought of that. So this is written sort of for photographers. So you need to adjust the prompt to make it for customers. So you see there where it's got protection and aesthetics with customization, custom framing. You can have complete control over the final look of your photos. Not too shabby though, from your perspective.
No, it's pretty good actually, and it's pretty much what the framers that I use for drop shipping use.
Is it?
They have on their website. So there you go.
That kind of information, yeah. And you could ask it to delve deep into one of these items. Anybody else got some text that they have to write coming up that I can have a crack at? Nope, no takers. I'm going to pick on you, Emily, for a second. So you do women's cycling coaching and learn to ride for kids. So I'm going to ask it for some information. Write the benefits of getting cycling coaching for women. Oh, wow, that's really good. Personalized training plan, improve technique, increase your motivation. Having a coach can motivate and encourage you to keep you on track and reach your goals. That's not too bad, actually. So even with a very minimal kind of a prompt, it still gives us some good stuff.
Yeah, I actually this is the first time I've seen this, and I've just jumped on the same site and just did quite a few things for Bicyclette, which is what it's called. And I've got a whole heap of stuff already, so thank you.
Yeah, awesome. I think this is probably the best thing that I've got in terms of online trends for this year is at the moment it's free, but they will start charging for it. We know that it's going to be a charged product in the future. What people have been saying is it's probably going to be around the $10 a month kind of mark. So from a value for your business perspective, if you're about to embark on a new website, that's when it would be super valuable. If you have to write a lot of content, so if you're big in social media and blogging and email marketing, then these things all line up together. Anybody else we have on the call that would like to test this out? Taylor, you're the peak body for the dance sector in Queensland. Can you tell me about what AusDance does?
It's a little bit complicated, and obviously, like peak body is not something that traditionally a lot of people can sort of pin a sort of description to easily, because each is different, and AusDance in itself has different state bodies that do very different things depending on the members that they do have. So ultimately, we are a member association that aims to advocate and provide business development and practice development for dancers in our respective states. So one thing that we're working on is, say, those business development workshops of, say, like learning business basics for setting up your dance studio, or learning how to raise funds for your business so that you can get sponsorship for your dance concerts, or little things like that. So that's just one of the little things that we do.
What was that workshop called? A workshop on setting up your dance studio? Yeah,
so we're calling it Business Basics, but we're sort of framing it in the sense of you've got the business of dance and you've got the practice of dance, and so Business Basics would fall under business of dance.
I do find that many events are not written very well in their descriptions, that they don't really tell you what the value you're going to get out of that event is. So that might be something worth doing here, is why should you attend a Business Basics workshop on setting up your dance studio? That's not too bad. Expert advice, practical skills, networking. Yep. All of those things are probably going to be at your workshop, I'm guessing.
Pretty much. And I think we've done a bit more of a succinct way of explaining that. But yeah, it's good to see it fleshed out a bit better.
Yeah. Often people, customers in general, they want a little bit of information when they're at the point of interest and a lot of information when they want to part with their credit card. So that's when they'll read things in more detail, is when they've got their card out and they're interested and they're ready to book. And so that's the point where you want a bit more information. Really good question in the chat from Namala about copyright. How does copyright work for this? Is at the moment it is copyright free. And the reason is because you are putting in a prompt and you're getting a response back from a robot. And so only people carry copyright. Companies can as well, but in this case, it's copyright free. You can put a little tag to credit it that says something like, this text was partly generated by ChatGPT. And that's what I've seen as a best practice. What most people are doing with this text, though, is using it as a base and then customizing it so it feels more like a human wrote it or more like you wrote it. And how you might do that is include personal stories, more things about your experience. So if I was going to use this as a event information, for example, I'd be including a bit of information about the presenter, the presenter's experience, what venue it's going to be in, why that's a good space, things like that. So really personalize it with your own data and try as much as possible to make the prompts a bit more detailed with your own info. So at the beginning, when I was asking Tracy about what her business was, where it was located, what are the key benefits, things like that, it then uses that information in the output data. And that's how you get a more personal response rather than my very generic one here of why should you attend a business basics workshop? That's super, super generic. So yeah, Namala, at the moment, it is copyright free. And I don't know how that might change once it becomes a paid unit. But for the moment, I think it's working quite well. All right, so we've covered so far video shopping, meeting customers where they are. We've covered AI in detail, a little bit about business podcasting and how customers get grumps if you don't meet them where they are, certainly. A bit about security crime and the growth in subscriptions. Is there anything that someone's come across that they'd like to talk in more detail, or a technology that is baffling them, or something that perhaps they should have already done, but they haven't and they'd like some more info on? Feel free to unmute yourself or pop it in the chat below. Nope, that sounds like crickets. So let me move on to my next point then. Is something that we've seen on trend for quite a while, but we've got businesses who are still lagging behind, is the use of automation around your digital calendar and around booking appointments. And to a lesser extent, booking events. We have seen events have pretty good take up, even now in the not-for-profit sector, in booking those online. And we've got some easy tools to be able to do that. But really, the situation is maturing now in terms of booking appointments and how your digital calendar integrates with those spaces. A really good example of one is Calendly. And so how it works is you create an event type inside Calendly. So let's say that might be, in my case, I use a 1 hour meeting. So you can book me for a 1 hour meeting. And when you book that, it has awareness of my availability because it's connected to the digital calendar that I use. But every day I talk to people who are not using a digital calendar, or maybe they're not using it consistently. And so this system wouldn't work well for them. And so if you have not yet, because you've been lagging behind in this, if you've still got the paper diary, then now's time to have a crack at the digital space. Where you should get started is whatever system your email uses. That is, if you're on Outlook, you should trial the Outlook calendar. If you're on Gmail or Google Workspaces, you should try the Google Calendar. And if you're very hard pressed in the Mac system, then the Apple Calendar is probably for you. All of these things don't talk to each other that well. So if you're operating an Outlook calendar and a Google Calendar and an Apple Calendar, you're going to have a little bit of a world of pain. You should choose one that is your primary calendar and maybe one that is your home life calendar. So that's how I have mine set up. Is I have a work calendar, my partner has a work calendar, and we have a joint calendar that we use for our family life. And so if you've been wondering how can I make all of this work, that's the first thing you need to get sorted is your digital calendar, and it's only the 4th of January. So today is a good day to get started on this. And the trickiest part, I think, is instead of writing down your events, you now have to put them into your calendar. So where you might do this is if you're using Outlook, you click on the calendar icon at the bottom and you put an event in there, and then that slot is booked. And if you were going to use an online booking engine like Calendly, it knows that somebody can't take that space, and it allows times outside of that to be booked. Now, I'm going to demonstrate mine to you. It's a pretty complicated calendar setup, so I will do my best at explaining it as we go. So hold on just a second. All right, so what you should see in front of you is Calendly. I'm going to log into my account. And in my case, I've got a whole bunch of events set up. Some are public. How you can tell is they don't have an eyeball, and some are hidden, and so the eyeball is crossed out. And so I would give people the link based on the kind of appointment that I'm going to be having with them. So let's say this new website discovery chat is, if we have a look at the booking page for that, this is what a customer sees, and they can book days that are highlighted. So if we look at what I've got available tomorrow, I've only got a couple of slots tomorrow, and how it knows that is through the integration. So I'm going to bring up my calendar so you can have a little peek at that. So this is Outlook. Those of you who are using Outlook would recognize this. And Thursday, the blue ones are me, by the way. I have a lot of calendars here for my office. So I'm just going to turn off anything unnecessary because this is what Calendly is integrating with. So we can see these slots for tomorrow. Friday's booked out, and next week looks pretty cruisy. So if we come back here, we can see those are the slots. People can book any half-hour slot. And in my case, I also have it integrated into Zoom. So if somebody makes a booking with me and they select Zoom, then what this will do is create the booking link, send it to the customer, and also send it to me, and it's in my Zoom account ready to go. And it also puts this appointment into my calendar for me. So super convenient. I have a paid consultation, this one. And in this case, when somebody books me, it's integrated into PayPal so that they can pay on the spot. So see there, it's got a price associated with it. And so I give this one out to people who are not my existing clients, who we're just having a one-off hour consultation or training about something. So it works exactly the same, except it also integrates with PayPal there as well. Each of these you can maintain your own availability about, but primarily it's getting all of its availability information from this here, which is my calendar accounts. And so I have it connected to my family calendar for after hours things and my work calendar for my 9 to 5. So does anybody have any questions about this, or have been wondering about how you might be able to go about taking online bookings that I can demonstrate? No? All right, very good. I find that this is really, really good if you do a lot of work from home work, or if you ever have to email people back and forth to find a time for a meeting. It's so much more convenient, and it makes me look super organized because I can just give someone a link and say, jump onto my calendar and book a time that suits you. And so from that perspective, it makes me look good, but also it significantly reduces the administration with that back and forward of creating Zoom links and sending reminders. You know, it does an automatic reminder the day before and just before the meeting. So I have less no-shows as well. So all around, it's a really great system. But the first step, the absolutely important step, is choosing which calendar is going to be your primary calendar and being really sticking with it and making sure you're recording your own events as they come up. So I've got a question in the chat. Could you just have your calendar on Calendly, or do you need to have another separate calendar on Outlook, etc.? And the short answer is you can just have your calendar on Calendly. There's no reason you do have to integrate. But what I find is unless you are quite careful about when you book things, you will have conflicts. So that's why you would normally have both. So as an example, I have this workshop right now, and I wouldn't put that into Calendly because there's no person to interact with for that. So I don't really have a way of recording this time other than putting that slot in my Outlook calendar and saying I'm going to be in the workshop for this time. So short answer is, yeah, you could absolutely, but you might be opening yourself up to conflict. You'd have to be really careful about making sure you book things. I have seen a dentist do that. How they did it is they said on Tuesdays only, one of their dentists was going to take online bookings. And so they did not book him for anything else in their internal system. And it's because they wanted to give online bookings a trial and see if it was going to work for them. And so that's how they did it, is their Calendly only took Tuesday bookings for one dentist. And they used it in that context. And that's how they avoided the whole conflict situation. Yeah, but really good question. Thank you. Any other questions about that? No? Very good. All right, folks. Well, you have made it through the hour of 2023 online trends. I think the gold for this year, honestly, is ChatGPT and the emergence of AI as a genuine tool that we can start to use in our business. Prior to this, it was a bit of a play toy, but now it's actually got some serious credibility in being able to write. You know, nobody likes to write things because it takes too long. As a web developer for 20 years, let me tell you, the thing I pull teeth about always is, can you send me some text about your business so that I can make your website? And so it's really going to alleviate that. I only need to know the basics now, and ChatGPT can largely take the heavy lifting off my clients for writing text. Most people are not that great at writing anyway. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a game changer in this space. The other thing I think we should all pay really close attention to is that cybercrime is a big, serious thing. And it's not just a big business target. Small businesses get targeted every single day. The worst hack that you can go through is your email being hacked. And because once your email is hacked, just about all your online passwords are gone. So every time you click forget your password, it then interacts with your email. And for that reason, if a business ever gives you the opportunity to turn on two-factor authentication, you should take that opportunity. And so that's where Facebook's got it, for example. You go to log into Facebook and it says, Nicky, you've got to check a text message on your phone and give us this code. And that means the hacker has to have both your phone and your password to be able to get in. And so the chances of that are massively reduced. So two-factor, it saves your bacon, but it is slightly annoying because you've got to turn it on and then wait for it. All right, folks. Thank you very much for attending, and Happy New Year. I hope you have an awesome, prosperous new year, and perhaps I'll see you at a future business session soon. So thank you very much. I'll hang around here for another 10 minutes. So if somebody's got something they want to talk to me about directly, unmute yourself and I'll chat to you. Otherwise, everyone else, have a great year.
Thanks, Nicky. That was great.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for coming. And thank you for being my guinea pig. I appreciate one video on. I appreciate it very much. Thanks, Taylor. See ya.